Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. As per the usual, I am Cobble S. Cobble. Good readings and salutations. Welcome back. You get a moment, give us a like, a share, a comment, whatever you want to do about the YouTubes. But welcoming back to the channel. As you were picking up, as you can see, we have another unboxing today. Today we're doing Dominaria United. So, we got, as it says, we got 12 card boosters, 2 reference cards, 20 land, 20 flashy land, box, spin down, and art foil of the herd migration. So, without further ado, and if you're looking for something to do in September, come hang out with us and our friends at the Monroe Pop Fest down in the Monroe Fairgrounds, September 15th and 16th. Let's see here. I'll put this over here. And nice little drawing of the Planeswalkers in this set. Looks like we got Tezzeret, Karn, an old Ajani, an old Syndra. So we have that. Fancy looking box. More, I don't know what the entire idea is, but they got a bunch of these pop-out cards, the counters and so on and so forth. Dual arts. So, and all kinds of other things and stuff. So we'll get to those a little bit later. But I'm going to pull out booster boxes. Nice little spin down D20. Put that over here. And, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 8 12 card booster packs. 3, 6, 7, 8. And then we have all our lands and so on and so forth. Attacking, blocking cards. Magic formats. The majority of you already know all that. You've been watching or playing long enough that it's kind of a standard issue. It's weird, I don't understand why they don't just wrap them in the correct packaging paper. They gotta do them like separate. So, we got the forests. We got the plains. Islands. Oh, that's a Liliana on this side, and we have a Johnny on the other. So we got our swamps and our mountains. An extra forest for some reason. So we got those. We'll put that on. Like that. And we'll pull out the foil lands. At least these aren't bent like the other ones have. Oh, they are. There's the herd migration, 7 drop, 6 colorless, 1 blue domain. Create a 3/3 green beast creature token for each basic land type among lands you control. Pay 1 colorless and green, discard the migration, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle, and gain 3 life. So that's our rare. But yeah, they're all flashy, but on the same token, they all are, for some reason, they're coming bent. So it looks kind of weird. But there's your forests. So either they've been packed in too tightly or whatever reason. And your Swamp Islands, and your swamps. So, without further ado, let's get into our first pack. The artwork is fantastic. From what I've been reading about the set, it's also pretty badass. So, we've been pulling some interesting shit as of late. So, we got more full art cards. This one is the Heirloom Battle Hymn. The Heirloom Battle Hymn. So a lot of interesting aspects with all the art cards coming into play. I'll put you right there. Ooh, an interesting full art forest, flashy. That's always pretty cool. I always like the full arts. So let's get into it. First up's Crystal Grotto. Land. When Crystal Grotto enters the battlefield, scry 1. Tap, add a charge. Pay 1 colorless, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Little rare mythics, lands, and so on and so forth. We got Sunbathing Rootwalla. 2-drop, 2/2. 1 colorless, 1 mountain. It's a lizard. Domain, pay 4, 3 colorless, 1 forest. Until end of turn, Sunbathing Rootwalla gets +1/+1 for each basic land type among lands you control. Activate only once per turn. So if you're running a 5-color deck, it becomes a +5/+5. So that's what the domain spells do. We have Tidepool Turtle. 4-drop, 2/5 turtle. 3 colorless, 1 blue. 2 colorless and a blue. Scry 1. Scry, for those that are not familiar with it, look at the top card of your library. You may put that card on the bottom of your library. Next up, we have Hexbane Tortoise. 3-drop, 3/2 turtle. 2 colorless, 1 green. Ward 2. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless they pay 2. Enlist. That's a new mechanic, looks like. As this creature attacks, you may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning sickness. When you do, add its power to this creature until end of turn. Okay, Enlist is an interesting aspect of that. It's the first time I've seen that. I've seen the Ward, but Flowstone Cavus. Hey, the Cavus are returning from way back in the day since Invasion Block. We got Flowstone Cavu, 3-drop, 2/3 Cavu, 2 colorless, 1 red. Menace. This creature can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures, and Fire Breathing. Play 1 red, any amount you want, gets +1/-1 until end of turn. So the Cavus are returning. First up, we have Legomos, Hand of Hatred. 3-drop, 1/3. 1 colorless, black, red. Human Shaman. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 2/1 red elemental creature token with trample and haste. Sack it at the beginning of your next end step. Tap him, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Activate only if 5 or more creatures die this turn. So you have a basic tutor. Interesting. For 3-drop and a tap. But if you just do massive board wipe, you just tutor a whole bunch of stuff. So, interesting. Eraktes Scorn. Erates. I'm not sure how I'm pronouncing it wrong by probably butchering the shit out of it. But 3-drop, instant. 1 colorless, 2 blue, instant. This spell costs blue less to cast if an opponent casts 2 or more spells this turn. Counter target spell. And then we got a Volhar, Voldarian Discreeter. Wow, this is Volhar. It sounds like a creature from Philier, but apparently I'm wrong. It's a 2-drop, 1/2 Pyrexian Merfolk Wizard, 1 blue, 1 black. Tap, discard a card, then draw a card, then discard a card. If you discard an instant or sorcery card this way, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Okay. Tap 2, sacrifice Volhar. You may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard this turn. If the spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Activate only as a sorcery. So, 2 out already, 2 legendary creatures. Oh, we're getting all kinds of legendary shit here. We have Urg, Spawn of Tharg, a 3-drop, questionable power 5, 2 black, 1 green, legendary creature Frog Beast. Urg, Spawn of Tharg, powers equal to the number of lands cards in your graveyard. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put that card into your graveyard. Pay black, green, sack a land, you gain 2 life. 3 legendary creatures, and our rare is going to be Ivory, the Gleeful Spell Thief. 2-drop, 2/1 fairy rogue, blue and green. Flying whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy, Gleeful Spell Thief, you may copy that spell, then copy target that. You may copy that spell. The copy targets Ivy. A copy of an aura spell becomes a token. Okay, so, but still, that's 4 legendary creatures out of the first pack. And then we have a Colossal Growth. Oh, they brought back Kicker, too. Nice. 2-drop, instant, 1 colorless, 1 green. Kicker, red. You may pay an additional as you cast red until, as you play the spell. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. If the spell was kicked, instead the creature gets +4/+4 and gains trample and haste until end of turn. So green-red's getting auto haste, and that's just fun times. And then we have a Cat Warrior token to finish off that first pack. 2/2 Cat Warrior Forest Walk. So a lot of heavy hitters right out the gate. 4 legendary creatures right out the gate out of pack 1. So pretty bad assets for the most part. Alright, we're going to open up the second pack now. It looks like all these packs, they only have 1 artist, 1 image on there, and it's a Johnny. So, from what it looks like, this is the a Johnny and Zombie Queen lady. Ooh, we have a signed complete art. That's interesting. This one is a Shanna Purifying Blade. And it's actually, looks like it's signed. So, that's pretty neat. Start off with Basic Forest. We have a Bone Splitters, Splinters to start. So it's a 1 black. Sorcery, additional cost to cast a spell, sack a creature, destroy target creature. So a 1-drop destroy. Not bad. We only had 1 uncommon in that. Or actually, we had 4 uncommons. So not bad. Next, Enthrall to the Pit. 4-drop sorcery, 3 colorless, 1 red, with a kicker, 2 colorless, black. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. If it gains haste until end of turn. If this spell was kicked, sack that creature at the beginning of the next end step. So, interesting. So essentially, you gain control and force them to sacrifice. That works. Next, we have Exhaust the Light. 4-drop instant. 2 colorless, 2 black. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. If the mana value was 3 or less, you gain 3 life. So, a lot of just whack out one-shot planeswalkers. We have Meteorite next. 5 colorless artifact. When Meteorite enters the battlefield, deals 2 damage to any target. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Next, we have the Relic of Legends, 3-drop artifact. Tap, add 1 mana of any color, and then additional tap and untap legendary creature you control, add 1 mana of any color. So, we have Raffi, the Weatherlight Steward, 2-drop, 1/3 legendary creature human wizard, white, blue. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control. If you do, draw the card. Pay 3 colorless, 2 white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and vigilance until end of turn. So, more legendary creatures. We have a Saga. Braid's Frightful Return. Read ahead, choose a chapter and start with that many lore counters. Add 1 after you draw your add 1 after you draw your draw step. Skip the chapters, don't trigger. Sacrifice after 3. Chapter 1, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, each opponent discards a card. Chapter 2 is return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And Chapter 3 is target opponent may sacrifice a non-land, non-token permanent. If they don't, they lose 2 life and you draw a card. So interesting sagas. Apparently, we have Braids, Avon Given Recruiter. Looks like it might be an alternate art form. So 2-drop, 2-color, 2/2, human soldier, red, white. Legendary creature, human soldier. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power greater than its base power, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. But it's Braid are given. Or Blared are given recruiter. So more legendary creatures. And we have a triple rare. We have a mythic as well. Greenleaves Mar Sorcerer. 3 color. It's a 5-drop legendary elemental. Power and toughness is questionable. 3 colorless, 2 green. Protection from planeswalkers and from wizards. Greensleeves Morrow Sorcerer's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. God damn. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 3/3 green Badger token. So, we have Badger tokens in play now. We also got Joya, Ageless Invoter. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments below how to pronounce it right. But 2-drop human artifact to 2/3. Blue-red. Tap 2 ingenuinely. Put 2 ingenui counters on Joya. And then you may put an artifact card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield, where X is the number of ingenuity counters on Johora. I think I remember her from the books, but that's one of our rares. We have a second rare. We have Nemetea, Primeval Warden, 4-drop, 3/4. It's a legendary creature, Tree Folk. Looks like alternate art, hollow. 2 colorless, black, green. Reach. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. When you do, create a 1/1 green sapling creature token. Pay a green, sack a sapling. The warden gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Or you can pay a colorless and green, sack 2 saplings to draw the card. So lots of legendary creatures in this pack. Or this set. But it is the Dominaria all coming together. And then we got a goblin token. But it is the world coming together, apparently, and united, probably against the return of the Pyrexian enemies. So, up to the next one. those rares or those? Oh yeah, those are all the rares so far. So all great numbers of legendary creatures right now. But so far, after all the packs I've opened, I haven't pulled any new Planeswalkers. Which is fine, but they could just be guessing for the people that are still playing Planeswalkers. We have another full art card that comes standard in the sets now. It's almost got a 3D feel to it. This one is Strength of the Coalition. So, you have the art series. Standard Plane. First up, we have the Charismatic Vanguard. 3-drop, 3/2, Dwarf Soldier, 2 colorless, 1 white. Pay 4 colorless, 1 white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Next, we have Essence Scatter. 2-drop, instant. 1 colorless, 1 blue. Counter target creature spell. Next up, we have a Pyrexian Vivisector. No, I'm horribly pronouncing that. Vivisector. 2-drop, 2/2, Pyrexian human. 1 colorless, 1 black. Whenever a creature you control dies, scry 1. Next up, we have the Pyrexian Rager. 3-drop, 2/2, Pyrexian Horror. Oh, the horrors are returning. Great. 2 colorless, 1 black. Whenever Pyrexian Ranger enters the battlefield, you may draw a card and you lose 1 life. And we have vampires too. Singil Concierge. 5-drop, 3/3. Vampire. 3 colorless, 2 black. Flying. Whenever 1 or more other creatures die, put a 1/1 counter on Singer Connoisseur. This ability triggers only once each turn. Oh, it is from Jodoa's. We have Jodoa's Codex. 5-drop artifact. Domain 5. Tap. Draw a card. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each basic land type among lands you control. Then we have, next up, we have Cut Down. 1-drop, instant, 1 black. Destroy target creature with total power and toughness 5 or less. Next up, we have the Baldovinian Atrocity. It's a 3-drop, 2/3 Pyrexian Berserker. 2 colorless, 1 black. Kicker red. When Baldavian Arrow City enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. Next, we have the Bortuk Bone Rattler, Rattle. It's a 6-drop, 4/4, Troll Shaman, 4 colorless, 1 black, green. Legendary creature. Domain, when Bortuk Bone Rattle enters the battlefield, if you cast it, choose target creature card in your graveyard. Return that card to the battlefield if the mana value is less than or equal to the number of basic land types among lands you control. Otherwise, put it into your hand. So, more legendary creatures. Next, we have the Silverback Elder as our mythic. We have a mythic rare. It's a 5-drop, 5/7, 2 colorless, 3 green. Ape Shaman. Whenever you cast a creature spell, choose 1. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, or look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped. Put the rest at the bottom of your library in a random order, or you gain 4 life. So we got 2 mythics so far. Next up, we have the Slimefoot Survey. 5-drop, sorcery, 4 colorless, 1 green. Domain, search your library for up to 2 land cards that each have a basic land type. Put them onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of basic land types among land you control. Put up to 1 of them on top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So this set's more for the mana fixes. And then we have the returning Treasure Thrall. And Extort is returning. The Treasury Thrall is a 6-drop, 4/4 Thrall. Extort, whenever you cast a spell, you may pay white or black. If you do, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And whenever Treasury Thrall attacks, you may return target artifact, creature, or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. So Thralls and Extort is coming back. And that's actually a rare. So I suppose the Thrall, the 1 character Thrall is a rare, but the other ones, the Extort is one of the normal abilities. We're going to start with the next one, but we're going to be heading into part 2 here in momentarily. But we'll see how many we can get through. Might get through 1 more pack. We'll have to see. We have a full art. Looks like a pirate, a Johnny. This one is Jedit, Ojalian Mercenary. I'm completely wrong. That's not. I remember Jedit. And I remember the stories about Jedit and the actual thing. So he is nowhere near him. But he is an interesting, well-versed character in the series. We got another full art forest. First up is the Thrill of Possibility. 2-drop, instant, 1 colorless, 1 red. An additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards. So red draw. That's something you don't see very often. Unless you have to sacrifice or do what need be. But red draw, interesting. Next up we have the Splatter Goblin. 2-drop, 2/1 Pyrexian Goblin. 1 colorless, 1 black. Whenever Splatter Goblin dies, target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Next up, we have another Colossal Growth. We have the Goblin Picker. 2-drop, 2/2 Goblin. 1 colorless, 1 red. Tap a mountain, tap, discard a card, draw the card. More draw engine. Vanquisher's Axe is next. It's a 1-drop artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and a crit cost of 2. Oh, the Djinns are coming back. So Djinn of the Fountain. It's a 6-drop, 4/4 Djinn. 4 colorless, 2 blue. Flying, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, choose 1. Djinn of the Fountain gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Or exile Djinn of Fountain, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step, or scry 1. Next up, we have Taylora, Steward of the Tides. It's a 3-drop, 3/3 Merfolk Druid, 2 forest, 1 blue. Land creatures you control have flying. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if you control 7 or more lands, up to 1 target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with haste. That's still a land. So that cross-platform is coming back. We also have Coral Colony, 2-drop, 1/4. It's a wall. 1 colorless, 1 blue. Defender, pay 1 or 1 colorless, 1 blue. Target player mills X cards, where X is the number of creatures you control with Defender. So that could be an interesting concept. And it looks like we're about out of time, so we'll wrap it up and switch on over to part 2, and we will see you over there.